Meet David, or Davida, as his friends like to call him. At the age of 14, David went to his parents and said, "I think I want to be a girl." His parents, overjoyed with the idea, said, "Okay, let's do it." They began the process of making David Davida. Unfortunately, they couldn't finish the process before Davida's 18th birthday, in which Davida, or David, was kicked off of his parents' insurance and forced to have to undergo some bad street surgeries and street medicine and we can't even go into the details of all what young Davida had to go through. So what we're doing is asking you to send $9.95 on behalf of Davida. Just think, if we could get 995 people to send $9.95, Davida might have enough money to get back on his hormone medicines and get everything straightened back out. We just thank you and appreciate your generosity. Thank you. Whoa, now, hold up now. Here, look here. Say David, Davida, whatever you call your name. I ain't trying to mean no disrespect, bro, but my little man can't even go to school because he got dreads. And here it is, you got a dress on and they telling you come on in. Man, something wrong with that there, man. My little man got a 3.9999999, man. And they tell him he can't even graduate, you heard me? I don't know, man. Something wrong with that picture, bro. My little man put on a dress, y'all celebrating him like he valedictorian. Somebody help them make sense to me, man. I'm mad. They messing with Booski, man. They got little Booski mad, man. Oh. What up? What up? What's happening? It's your boy Tassa the Gospel Poet, and now I'm here for another episode of Ashy Classy Ratchet Righteous. Y'all already know what time it is, so let's get to the biz. Hey, if you ain't been paying attention, then you probably ain't heard about DWade. You know, he's been in the news again, and this time it ain't because he didn't kind of wore some fruity looking outfit. Pause. But this time it's because his kids is wearing fruity looking outfits. Pause. Well, actually, let's keep it a bean. He in the news because he recently went on Ellen. Yeah, I think it was Ellen. He recently went on Ellen or whatever show it was. It talked about his son Zion wants to be called Zaya. And his son is a 12-year-old boy, 12-year-old born a 12-year-old male, and now goes as 12-year-old Zaya, right? And the internet's been going crazy with it, right? And for me, I'm like, what is it? Like, what's the big deal? Why is everybody not mad? You know, because everybody, and this is the crazy part for me. Everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people, you got two sides. You got those who for it and those against it. Those who for it, the first thing they saying is, why everybody in their business? Let them people live their lives, rather. And I'm cool with that. But unfortunately, that's not how society works. Society does step into other people's lives when they see that other people don't know how to live their lives accordingly to society rules. And in this case, not just society rules, it's just human nature rules. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that, because I know some of y'all already, jumping out your chair already, talking about nobody lives society rules. And what I mean by that is that if your child goes to school and tells the social worker that you've been beating them, you're going to have somebody at your house telling you what to do with your child. So all that, I do is I want to do with my child. No, miss me with that. Because we already know that's just somebody just saying what they want to say to excuse whatever they're trying to do. Because we all know in this country that we have child protective services because parents don't always do what's in the best interest of their children. And like I said already, if somebody's beating their child and their child got bruises, nobody in the world is going to complain if somebody reported their parent to CPS. If anything, they're going to champion them people for calling CPS on them and saying they did their job as part of society, is looking out for the children of society, right? But in this situation, calling Dwayne Wade a child abuser, people are going to frown upon because they're going to be like, how is he abusing his child? And by basic definition of a child abuser is someone who's not looking out for the best welfare of their children. You know what I'm saying? And if you have a 12-year-old son who says that he identifies as a girl since he's been 3 years old, that makes it worse. So he identifies as a girl since he's been 3. Most 3-year-olds don't even know the difference between a boy and a girl. Because all they know is they have an Audi and the girl has an innie. And they really don't even know the purposes of the Audi and the innie. Barely. You know what I mean? They know they go pee with it. That's it. That's all they know is, oh, they pee with the Audi, they pee with the innie. That's it. They don't know the differences between a boy and a girl. They don't know none of the biological differences between a boy and a girl. They don't know none of the societal differences between a boy and a girl. They just know boy, girl, Audi, innie. Let's play. That's all they know. So to say a 3-year-old knew that they wanted to be, a 3-year-old boy knew that he wanted to be a girl when he doesn't even know what a girl really is. You know, he knows what a girl is by sight, but he doesn't really know what a girl really is. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't know what makes up her being a girl. You know, what biologically makes her a girl, which emotionally makes her a girl, which just spiritually makes her a girl. I mean, mentally makes her a girl, because we can sit here and act like men and women aren't different spiritually, mentally, and physically. We are. Emotionally, definitely. Because we all know women tend to be more emotional than men. Because that's the biggest critique that women tell men. Oh, you're not emotional enough. You don't show your feelings enough. You know, all that kind of crap. You know what I mean? But I ain't going to get into that because I don't get into my feelings like that. You know what I'm saying? Which is probably why I'm still single. You know what I mean? But anyway, that's another story for another day. But now this is the biggest problem with it, right? So if Dwayne Wade is already talking about his 3-year-old, his son is 12, identified as a girl as 3, and they're already going through the process of letting her identify and let him identify as a girl, changing her name to Zaya, is only next in the process to start giving him hormones so he could fully start being Zaya. Because if they don't give him hormones, he's going to be Zion. And based on his father, who's 6'4", who's 6'4", a professional basketball player who is naturally athletic, because even a young Wade who came out of nowhere was like an unknown college player and blew up in the college playoffs. That became famous pretty much in the college playoffs. You know, because before the college playoffs, a lot of people didn't know who Dwayne Wade was. Maybe if you're from Chicago or something. But for the most part, most people didn't know who Dwayne was. But let alone, the one thing you knew about Dwayne when the first time you see him step on that court is you knew that he was a physical giant. You know, physically. Or more metaphorically, you know what I'm saying? Because he's about 6'4", 6'5", I think. But he plays like he's bigger than that. And he plays like he's taller, bigger, and faster. But what I'm getting at is his son Zion, right? So you inherit genes and traits from your parents. So boys, a lot of times, going to inherit traits from their fathers, right? The older son, Zaire, which I think has the same mother as Zion, is already starting to look like he's going to be like his dad. You know, a slender, tall fella, very athletic. So it wouldn't be surprising if Zion is also slender, tall, athletic. That doesn't mean he has to be, but it's good chances are that he could be, right? So if you don't start giving Zaya hormones, Zaya is going to look like, for lack of better illustration, she's going to look like a grape ape in a dress. She's going to look like, and I don't want, and I hate to say this because some people take this metaphor the wrong way, but she gonna look like Zaya. Gonna look like pretty much Zaya. Gonna look like somebody put a dress on a gorilla. And I'm not saying that Zion looks like a gorilla. I'm just saying, just to give you a idea of how stupid it's going to look. How stupid he's going to look trying to be a woman if they don't give him hormones. Because at 12 years old, he's about to start coming. He's probably already started puberty. And he started coming in his body. His hormones are going to start kicking in. And with him, he's going to be probably muscular. You know, if he allows his body to take its natural course, he's probably going to tend to be a little more muscular built, like I said, slender built, athletic frame and everything. But that's where the hormones come in. Because see, now if he does take the hormones, that will stunt the testosterone and not let him full out become that full figure male he would start to grow into be. In essence, it pretty much is going to suppress all that. And the scary part is that it's been proven by doctors that if you start suppressing your hormones, young men, if you start suppressing young men's hormones during the pubic age, which is important years of your life, because that's when you really start to develop the most, that's going to hurt him going into adulthood. Because now he doesn't fully, them hormones don't allow his body to fully develop. So what happens if Zaya turns 16, 17, not even that. What happens if Zaya turns 18 and all of a sudden, you know, all these hormones and everything going and he having second thoughts about being a woman? But they didn't already start giving the hormones, and so now he risks the chance that he might be sterile, meaning not being able to have kids, or even suffer from erectile dysfunction because of the hormones they be giving them. You know what I'm saying? And that's just being taken at light. So what happens, you know, because see, this is the problem with DWade and them. They have money. So for them, they have money. So getting surgeries to them is not a big question. You know, where other people who don't have money, the surgeries cost a lot, $20,000 or more to get them gender reassignment surgeries and stuff. So people can't afford them. So that's their hold off. But the bad side of that is if they don't have the money, then that means they got to get their hormones and their reassignment surgeries, whatever kind of breast implants they do, they got to do it on the black market or do street stuff, which usually works just as bad because now they're putting their life in danger because they're getting bad medicine and bad medical procedures. You know what I'm saying? Any way you look at it, it's not good because one, as a parent, you're making a crucial decision for your child based on your child saying what they want when at 12 years old, children don't always know what they really want. Hell, you ask a 12-year-old what they want to be when they grow up, a lot of times they don't even really want to know what they want to even be when they grow up as far as career-wise, let alone, you know, trying to figure out, you know, sexual identity. I mean, in Zion's mind, being young like that, he's probably thinking, oh yeah, I want to be a girl. It looks fun, especially in today's society. It looks fun. You know, I want to be a girl. It looks fun. Not knowing what all comes with being a girl. You know what I'm saying? Not knowing that he's going to have to take medicine, and that medicine goes against his natural body. So I'm sure that's going to cause some psychological issues, chemical imbalance issues, or if not even that, just hormonal issues, temperament issues. I mean, there's so many things that just, you know, that there's so many ways this thing could go wrong. And not to mention the granddaddy of them all. Snip. Once it's gone, it's gone. Ain't no sunshine when it's gone. You know, I'm just saying. Ain't no coming back from that. You can get face breasts and all that. You can get breast implants and all that. And you can go get them cut back off. But once you get the wee-wee, snip. Ain't no sunshine when it's gone. Now, on the other hand of the spectrum, we have DeAndre Arnold, the young man from Texas, who cannot graduate with his senior class because he has dreadlocks, unless he cut his dreadlocks. And the crazy part about this whole story is that the school had a rule about dreadlocks. Like a lot of schools have a rule about hair and understand that. And like your job, some jobs have the rules with the hair. Your hair has to be shoulder length. And if it's not shoulder length, it has to be worn up in a bun or some type of ponytail or something. You know what I mean? It has to be worn up, right? And so the young man, all through high school, has kept his hair up. He's wore it up some type of way, wrapped up some type of way to where it didn't go past his shoulders. All of a sudden, this past Christmas, the school board decides that, oh, no longer having it up is sufficient. Now, you can't have it as long as it would be as it is extended, which is stupid because it's like, okay, you said it can't be past the shoulders, but then at one time you said it could be up. Now all of a sudden you said it can't even be up no more, that that whatever hair your length is down, that's the length that it is. So it has to be cut if it goes past the shoulders. Which is probably stupid because I'm sure at that school they probably got some little dudes walking around with buns, man buns. And if them little dudes got man buns, I'm sure their man buns probably fall past their shoulders, and yet they probably still gonna be able to walk the stage. Which that's all is all guessing on my part. I don't really know it, but that's how stupid this whole thing sounds. You know, Christmas break, all of a sudden now the young man got to cut his hair because the school policy changed. Like, who changes their policy in the middle of the school year? Especially something so insignificant, you know what I mean? And then I know people been talking about, well, there's a loophole in the policy that says if your religious beliefs or you could appeal for this. I'm pretty sure the little dude probably appealed. I mean, because if it's made national news and his parents are telling him that it's part of his culture, that's part of the appeal, right? So if they're telling us that it's part of his culture, why they won't cut it, I'm sure they told the school board the same thing, which is part of the appeal. So why is it still a big deal? And this young man still can't walk the stage? I don't know. You tell me. But what I want to know is if that same young man, DeAndre, said, I identify as a girl, pulled his dreadlocks out and wore them down, no problem. They probably would pick out the dress for him to wear. But see, this is where I get into the way I think. And I know some of y'all ain't going to like this. See, to me, I think it's just part of a bigger agenda. You know what I mean? And I'm sorry. Because I look at the two extremes, and it shows me a bigger picture with the two extremes. They're happy to put young black men in dresses, but they're mad when young black men want to wear hairstyles like dreadlocks or locks that resembles their African culture. Now, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard this before. I don't know how true it is. I haven't really did the research, but it's one of those things I've always heard that in the government, there was doctrine in the government, like one of those kind of like word of mouth doctrines that whatever you do, and I think it was with the FBI and Hoover. I think it was with the FBI and Hoover, that whatever you do, do not let the African American men, do not let African American men retouch or get back or I'm trying to think how to say this. Do not let African American men reassociate themselves with African culture. Because if you do, they will pose a threat because African culture produces strong men or one of the man, I can't think of trying to say this, man, but like one of the like one of the cultural norms in the African in the African culture, one of the cultural norms in Africa itself was the culture of promoting a strong warrior type, a manhood, of presenting a strong manhood, like raising the young African men to be men, teaching them how to be strong men, teaching them how to be warrior-like men. You know what I mean? That was a big thing, part of African culture, was raising to be strong warrior-type men. You know what I'm saying? So under Hoover, and I think it's Hoover, I could be wrong, but I think it's under the Hoover administration, they had that kind of handshake doctrine that do not let the African American men get reassociated with the African culture, because they knew that would pose a threat, because they were scared that they don't want the African American men becoming strong black men. And some people are gonna be like, well, that sounds kind of racist, Matassa. That's real racist. How you gonna say strong black men like there ain't no strong white men? There are strong men of every culture. But unfortunately, in America, we all know that in American culture, since slavery days, there's been a way to stop from making strong black men. I do not know why, but I know it exists. Just look at how everything in society works. Everything you see with strong black men, you don't see them on TV. They don't show images of strong black men. The only images of black men you see are clowns and goofballs or gay men. They quick to promote the scene of like you look at even commercials. You can easily see a commercial today with a gay man in a commercial, but you hardly ever see a commercial with a husband and a wife and a child. You don't see strong commercials of a young daddy and his daughter, or a young daddy and his son playing in a yard or something. Like you see that all the time. You mean with other cultures, you see a commercial with non-blacks all the time. Where the father's in the yard playing with the daughter or the son. You know what I mean? Showing a solid family foundation. But when the blacks in the commercial, you usually see a black female, and she's usually in the house cleaning, and the child is running around doing something, and then she gets the child or whatever, but you don't see their husband in the commercial. There are very few commercials where you see a black man and a black woman. Now, you will see a commercial with a black man and a white woman. See, now that's something we don't talk about. Now, when you do see the black man, family man in the commercial, it's usually you see a biracial family, but you don't see black man, black woman, black child. Here in America, we know that black men have always been under attack. And I mean, the government did it. At one time, the government did it legally. I mean, you look at Miss Evers' boys, the Tuskegee experiment, syphilis and stuff. They gave us diseases for years. They've been giving us diseases and not telling us and letting us go about passing the disease on. You know what I'm saying? Look at drugs. I mean, drugs. They let the young black men sell the drugs and become big time crack dealers and all that stuff until the crack started to get out the black neighborhoods. Then once it started getting out the black neighborhoods, all of a sudden it was a problem. Reagan's all on TV talking about say no to drugs once he left the hood. And now look at now's situation. Now, all these years, heroin's been around. Heroin's been in the black neighborhoods for years. Because if you look at some of your favorite rappers, especially in the New Orleans area, a lot of them boys, the Hot Boys, BG, all them boys was talking about heroin, snort a powder bag, snort a Peter bag. What you think Peter was? You know what I'm saying? Them boys been talking about for years, drugs and heroin and stuff. So for me, I was living in Michigan, prior to 2018, prior to the summer of 2018, I was in Michigan and I attended a few drug promoting drug-free community events. You know what I mean? Events promoting kick the habit, kick the addiction events. You know what I'm saying? And in the small town where I was at, Bay City, Michigan, it was predominantly white folks who was hooked on heroin. Now, we ain't even talk about that. All of a sudden now, all these suburban moms get hooked on heroin. Now, all of a sudden, police walk around with Narcan. But when crackheads was the thing, police was walking around with handcuffs. They were locking crackheads up for being smokers. Now people on heroin they not even getting locked up for being heroin addicts. They getting treatment for being heroin addicts. So I'm just saying. So we already know there's systems in place in this country that's never favored black men. We get locked up. Black men get locked up at higher rates than any other any other culture, any other race group, any other ethnic group. Black men get locked up at a higher percentage than any other ethnic group. And I know some people say, well, there are more whites locked up than blacks. Yes, there is. Because there are more whites in America. Blacks only make up 12%. Well, whites make up like 40-some%. That's a big difference. So yeah, there's an agenda in this country, and there's always been, to stop from producing strong black men. Because one, if you don't produce strong black men, you don't produce strong black communities. Because you need a strong black man, strong black woman to have a strong black child. I'm sorry. It is what it is. I'm not saying that biracial families can't have a strong child. They can have a strong child. But I'm talking about as far as a culture and a community. Because we all know in this country, different ethnicities have different cultural norms and different cultural abnorms, or whatever you want to call it. And nothing wrong with that. That's what makes us beautiful, is that all the cultures in this country, that's the whole part of being America. We're supposed to be the melting pot, where all the cultures come, and under this big pot, they all come and they can be in this big pot while still keeping their identity and all be one. And Italian American, they keep their identity. Irish Americans, they keep their identity. Well, we don't call them British Americans, but we all know people who descended from Great Britain, they keep their ethnic identity and cultural identity. You know what I'm saying? And no one thinks nothing about it. But there's that one group though. We don't have that identity. And any chance we try to reconnect with our identity, seems like it's a problem. Can't wear dreads. I don't know why. Shoot, especially in high school, that's the thing I don't get. In high school, that's when everybody wore their hair. Because I went to a high school. I've been to all black high school and I've been to all white high school. And in both high schools, that's where people experimented with their hair. When I was at the all black high school in the early 90s, black kids wore high top fades. They wore pool tops. Some even had plaits or dreads. When I went to the all white school, white kids had the hair straight up, green tips, and all that crazy mess. You know what I'm saying? Some of them did the Kurt Cobain look, you know what I mean? Some of them had the Justin Bieber look where it was all like the super duper bang, whatever. But whatever look they had, that was their look. They had the man bun. Some of them just wore straight. Some of them was like straight into like the hardcore rock, you know what I mean? Alice Chains and Coopers and all them, whatever you call them, and just rocking their hair straight like with the hair. Because that's, you know what I mean? I went to high school, we was right off the backside of the hairband days, you know, where rockers was wearing tight jeans and long hair, where, shoot, you had to be careful. You see them from the back, you got to be like, hold up, is that a dude or female? You know what I mean? So nobody said nothing. But now all of a sudden, kids wear dreads, and it's like Chicken Little. You know what I mean? Anyway, man, I'm done, man. That's it, man. I've been rambling, going on this tangent for too long. But just think about it, though. Just think about it. If a man says he wants to put his son in a dress, society cheers. If a man says, nah, I want my son to wear dreads, society's like, I don't. And they make every excuse in the world why the kid can't have dreads. But yet, we hear none of them excuses when you see the kid with the punk rock hairs or even the little girls dyeing their hair all kind of crazy colors and nobody says nothing. Because they're kids. That's what they do. They experiment with their hair. Duh.